Now I'm happy to introduce to you our next speaker, right this time, Ilya Munerman, Interfax Group. Five steps to democratize the improved of financial robo-advisors efficiency based on Interfax data. Well, we don't hear you well. Hello, dear colleagues. I would like to put slides on the screen, and I will tell you something about advantages we have in Interfax about AI and our scoring modules, and how they are used in non-standard situations. Interfax is a news agency, so this is what most people know about us. But it's not actually the case, because IT services account for over 90% of our turnover today. So many exciting services for writing news and sharing information. Today, I will tell you about how we interact with robo-advisors. Automated advisors. It's an exciting story, because at the moment, many people started to invest at stock exchange as private individuals. It's a huge mass of small investors that came to the market and to the stock market and started to invest in financial instruments. And many of them need advice. They don't like to listen to advices from traditional analysts because of cognitive deviations and their bias in evaluation. They would like analytics based on numbers, not words. And so that's why we need robo-advisors. What are their capabilities today? First of all, they can do the customer profile. It has a number of dimensions. It depends on the broker. If it is a bank and our customer took a loan from the bank, then it's one pattern to be used. Or if the client used some financial products, it would be a different group of behavioral pattern. And here we use our module on small and medium business. We can track the adventures and assess how it can impact loyalty of the customer. Also, social artifacts and the digital behavior. So if on how the portfolio was shaped, it depends on securities the customer investment, Gazprom and Lukoil in one case. So we analyze social artifacts and we offer our client news exciting or that are likely to be exciting for the customer. And it's a difficult story because not all type of news data is helpful. Some news should go to trash, like an exhibition in Kirov region sponsored by Megaphone, or an issue published report document that made the investor disappointment. So you also need to send it to spam. Because our client will get that news from somewhere else. Another news about trial which led to a decrease in securities value. Again, so we will get that type of news before journalists write about it. Writing about news is a challenge. It's a complex task. Then offering relevant news to the customer. It's one case if it's Tesla, and the other if it's Gazprom and Lukoil, and also rebalancing the portfolio. It's an exciting topic because today it requires taking a decision on investment, or maybe encouraging our clients to make some investment decisions. So that's the portfolio, the securities and the value. What should we share to the customer? It's our engine with recommendations from analysts from different sources. We would tell our client, yeah, let me show you. With a pointer, we will tell you, hey, guy, that's the way your portfolio is organized. And we analyzed some recommendations from analysts, and we believe that if we analyze it that way, that you can move from point A to point B. So your income will increase, although the risk will be slightly higher. So it's a challenge. You need to take into account fees. You need to think how to ensure that the client gets the custom. A lot of details. But at this moment of time, we are in the situation when we can tell you just also not to stand up once again. You can buy more security based on some new and exciting algorithms, because they are based on certain data. And here, let's talk about signals we can embed from data we have in Interfax, and how they can be embedded in traditional analytics. The problem is that the financial data is based, on the one hand, on reporting documents that are slow, and also they are influenced by analysts. What can we do? We have a number of factors that proved to be very efficient during the pandemic. We can have a look at what's going on at courts, at trading, payment discipline, court decisions, cash transactions, a host of factors that allows me to adapt my scores to situation related with the pandemic. So you just change the model. It was all relevant and applicable to small and medium business. Well, we realized that some restaurant was closed, but they were efficient in black cash market. We would not give them the loan. And also, what options could be relevant to big companies? It was an experiment. So two factors were quite exciting. Payment discipline, also called paydex. A classical example. I was to a big number of industry conferences, and my colleagues told me it wasn't possible to predict that Trans-Aero airline would go boost. There were no indications. However, I would like to say there were some indications. The paydex, the structure. So if you analyze data on transactions with the big clients, telecom companies, owners, utility sector company like Russian grids, and so on and so forth. And when we see that in case the issuer and the sister companies started to be slow in payments, we can analyze the signals. But you should be cautious, because not long ago a big issuer bought stocks from a competitor, and the value of securities went up 17%, but they started to pay slower to the power companies. You should be cautious. You shouldn't ignore other factors. Your decision should not be based on just one factor. And we saw the way what happened to Transira shares and how the PADEX changed. Now, the second example, quite obvious. It's quite new, 2020. Metrostroy in St. Petersburg that constructed metro became a complete bankrupt. We see that the first signals appeared in 2018. So those who held the shares couldn't get rid of them before, 2 years before the time when the company actually became a bankrupt. Another factor, very important, claims burden. What is it about? It's analytics of all litigations company is in. Well, it, of course, data from the courts, and we work on getting to a situation when we would process most court cases. So claims burden is the sum of assets or liabilities arising from litigation for a company. Yes, there are complex cases we don't analyze. We don't analyze bankruptcies and complex counter-isks. But in many cases, it's quite simple. So in Chelyabinsk region, there is a case of the tax office against medium-sized company. So the probability that the tax office wins is 86%. So it's something obvious. You don't need deep artificial intelligence to calculate it. And again, I gave you an example. Medium-sized company in Chelyabinsk region. But what's the case with the big companies? So first of all, you need to calculate the pulp line for the claims burden. So you classify the claimant, the court case, and you predict the further events. And we have one problem. The larger is the issue, the more court cases the company is in, the higher is the chase. Another case, Aeroflot airline, the only issue, and you use artificial intelligence, and you need issuers to analyze claims to identify risks that can risk its situation. So Aeroflot is an issuer that normally has no claims. Here we can find them, and Aeroflot writes about that. And here we come to some very interesting cases. The dark blue bar is the sum of claims against the company, and the turnover is 74 million rubles, but the claim burdens is only 35 million rubles. So not that means that Aeroflot is quite efficient in protecting its interests in the court, and this index correlates quite well with the assets of the company. Now, a couple of words what we got from being involved into robo-advisors market. We had a number of models we didn't test quite well, but we started to use some new tricks. 4 requirements to the models when you bear responsibility for the financial decision taken based on your model. The European Central Bank identified 4 main requirements: data management, performance, stability, and explainability. So here we have the data management, clearing and preparing data from proven sources, performance, our traditional indexes, AUC, pre-call, predictability, and so on. Stability. Stability means the possibility to assess stability by version and by data. Your model shouldn't be restructured. And explainability is the possibility to explain what features influenced decision-making. So you reduce the model to linear regression, and you identify the features which are most efficient for that. Thank you. So I think I was on time. Thanks for the invitation. I'm ready to take your question. Ilya, thanks for your very exciting presentation. You were very detailed in explaining us all relevant factors for sources where information comes